this is the sound of Elland Road on a sun-soaked summer's afternoon. And we're just waiting for the teams to emerge from the tunnel. And the great chorus of the Marching On Together song. And I know that the players are on the move, and here they come now. Led out by the official, Stuart Atwell is the referee. And then the players walk out side by side. Leeds in white and Chelsea in blue. There have been some great confrontations, haven't there, over the years between players in those two kits, Pat Nevin?
Absolutely. Playing quite a few of those kits as well. But you know, those players out there just now, they will be thinking about today and absolutely nothing else. But as they walk out, what they're surrounded by here, this noise, this atmosphere, kind of doesn't change. This still sounds fantastic, and that'll lift the players up. I think we're going to have a great game. We played at a brilliant tempo today. It will not be boring.
Yes, football changes very quickly, but this is a timeless sound that you're listening to via 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and all of those Leeds fans applauding together. So the teams are out there, Leeds United and Chelsea. Remember, they're both unbeaten in the 2 matches each they've played this season. But both, I think, will feel that it could be 2 wins out of 2 after they conceded late equalisers last weekend. Thomas Tuchel will be, no doubt, have the focus on him. We thought he'd be banned from the touchline here. But Jesse Marsh is down there in the technical area. And I see the cameras are focused. I think Thomas Tuchel is sitting back. Yes, he is. He's sitting there on the bench, leaning back under the old-style Perspex-backed Elland Road dugouts. So we're almost ready for kickoff, but the final whistle has gone in the midday kickoff in the Championship. Laura Kenyon.
It's finished. Bristol City 2, Cardiff 0. 2 wins on the bounce for Nigel Pearson. The 7-side derby bragging rights stay with Bristol City. At first, a first-half goal from Tommy Conway, followed up by a second-half back-post header from Rob Atkinson. Crunching tackles, personal battles, as you'd expect for this fixture. But at full-time, it's Bristol City 2, Cardiff 0.
Yes, another good win for Bristol City. So 2 Premier League games are about to kick off here on 5 Live. We will bring you commentary on Leeds United against Chelsea. We'll also keep you up to date on West Ham against Brighton, which will be beginning simultaneously at the London Stadium, and then at 4:30 commentary on Newcastle United against the champions Manchester City. We'll also be across Celtic against Hearts, which begins at 3 o'clock. And actually lots more FA Cup preliminary round matches being played today. You might even be on the way to watch one of them listening to us this afternoon. But glorious conditions here. Just 1 change each. Dan James coming in for the injured Patrick Bamford for Leeds, and Conor Gallagher coming in to start for Chelsea for the first time in a competitive match, to play in midfield with N'Golo Kante out injured. So Leeds, they're in their huddle. Meslier, the goalkeeper, all in orange. The rest in white. Christensen, Koch, Llorente and Strout, the back 4. Roca and Adams in midfield. Aronson and Harrison wide. Captain Rodrigo behind Dan James. At least that's the way we think it'll be. And Chelsea with Mendy in goal. The 3 central defenders, James, Thiago Silva and Koulibaly. Loftus-Cheek and Cucurella in the wide positions. Gallagher and Jorginho in the middle. And then Mount, Havertz and Sterling. So just about set for kickoff here. Leeds United against Chelsea. Referee Stuart Atwell is ready. It's going to be Chelsea to kick off. Raheem Sterling is over the ball, still looking for his first competitive goal for his new club. Leeds in the first half will attack to our right towards the packed Norman Hunter stand over there. And Chelsea kick off, and Sterling plays the ball back to Koulibaly, who drives it downfield, and there's an immediate collision, an immediate stoppage in play after an aerial challenge on that far side. Kai Havertz, just a swinging arm, did make contact. It's a free kick, nothing more than that. On Roca. Here come Chelsea with Sterling down the left-hand side into the penalty area, onto his right foot, making space and shooting wide from a couple of yards inside the box. just lacked that extra little bit of bend and curl on it. Otherwise, it would be 1-0 in the first minute.
The speed in which Sterling gets onto the ball there, but the ease in which he cuts through that entire defence there. He had so many options. He could have played Cucurella, who had gone outside him there. He'd have been one-on-one with a goalkeeper. That would be a real concern this early on for Leeds United.
That's Pat Nevin, Scotland international, twice a Chelsea Player of the Year. And we're sitting up here on the gantry that hangs from the roof of the ageless John Charles stand. And the ball is fired out of play by Koulibaly. Down below us on the touchline, a throw-in for one of the recent signings, one of the summer signings, Christensen. So Christensen, actually Adams as well, and Roca in midfield, and Aronson have started all of the matches so far. So a significant change for Leeds as Rodrigo, the captain, fouls Jorginho, and it's a free kick to Chelsea on the halfway line. But also, as well as Bamford, it's the problem of last season as well for Leeds. Bamford's out, Cooper's out, Dallas is out, Ayling is out, all important players. But they've made an unbeaten start to the season, and here they are against Chelsea as the ball is played through the middle towards Rodrigo, and then Tyler Adams puts in an excellent challenge. They enjoyed that. Rodrigo goes through Koulibaly's challenge, but there was cover there in the space of Jorginho, in the shape of Jorginho, and Chelsea were able to clear it away. Brilliant noise. And now here's Harrison on the left-hand side. Harrison's low cross is easily intercepted. It actually hit Reece James, who's able to play it away, and it bounces out of play for a Leeds throw. Pat Nevin.
Very good reaction from Leeds there. They got a shot in those first minute there, almost losing a goal, but they've come straight back into it and they stand up to Chelsea. Interesting enough, Rodrigo gets his first chance to run at Koulibaly, goes straight on his left foot. Koulibaly's got a bit of a weakness there, and he was spotted it right away and walked past him.
So it is 0-0 in the very early stages. Still West Ham 0, Brighton 0. And the other Premier League match going on right now. Cricket on Sports Extra, incidentally. It's the one-day cup today, the 100 later. And the ball is out of play for a throw-in to Leeds, halfway inside the Chelsea half, which is taken to Harrison, who's set up 2 goals so far this season. And then the ball is whipped in from the left-hand side. Dan James near the left corner of the box, but got right underneath it and sent it sailing away over the top of the crossbar. Just got to keep an eye on Dan James as well, after the way that the match started last season, when James was sent off inside the first half hour. Really not a good tackle on Kovacic. No, red carded.
They've actually, I mean, you were wondering whether they would start him up front on point or Rodrigo. Actually, they've started Rodrigo up front, James more on the right-hand side, but both players are able to move and be adaptable as the game goes on.
Well, and in goes James with a very good challenge. And now Aronson keeps his feet. It bounces back to the edge of the penalty area, then work to Harrison on the left, onto his right foot. Harrison with a curler, but it's straight at Mendy, who is able to just pat it down in front of his face and gather it on the bounce.
Twice Conor Gallagher's been caught in the ball in a deep area. You can't do that. That happened last week when Jorginho got caught. Spurs went away and scored the goal. If you're playing as one of those two-set midfielders, you can't afford to lose it there.
Gallagher did well actually there, though, in central midfield. Was caught late, but referees allowed the play to continue with the advantage. Sterling to the edge of the area. Mount plays it square. Loftus-Cheek is onto it. Congested box. And it was congested. 2 defenders threw themselves in front of Loftus-Cheek to deflect it behind for a corner.
This is old Leeds, isn't it? I know Chelsea is end-to-end. It's been a brilliant start to the game. Chelsea down this left-hand side. Sterling looks in fantastic form. He's had a real go at Ruben Loftus-Cheek there, because Ruben Loftus-Cheek, you've got to put your laces through that first time. You don't get 3, 4, 5 touches, well, unless you're Raheem Sterling in the box. He should have put his laces through that one, tried to take it inside, ended up only getting a corner when he should have had a shot on target.
Promising start, Pat.
Oh yes, I thought it would be lively.
Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Corner from the right, the first corner of the match. Into the near post, it's cleared away. Rodrigo got to it, stretched out his leg and volleyed it away. So that is the first corner failure today, Pat, from Mount, wasn't it, on the far side, who swung the ball in. Remember, you and I, when we last commentated together on Chelsea the first Saturday evening of the season, they had 16 corners, didn't score from any of them, and then against Tottenham, Cucurella took the first one and they scored from it.
Yes, I think there's an idea that they had to change the corner kick takers. The quality wasn't good, and considering...
Clash of heads, Loftus-Cheek and Struijk, who was just stretching for it. The ball bounced up between them. he headed it and then followed through into Loftus-Cheek, who I don't think knew a great deal about.
No, he didn't. But when you hit Loftus-Cheek, you tend to stay hit. He's a big old lad.
He's an absolute. He's a real sculpture, isn't he?
Yeah.
Loftus-Cheek.
When you look at that right-hand side of Chelsea, Reece James and Loftus-Cheek, the physicality they have over there is incredible. There's already been a couple of those kind of challenges so far. We get another view of it just now, and to be honest, I think Loftus-Cheek, we will have a look at that.
Caught his shoulder.
Yeah, shoulder. You need to be careful.
Jumped in with his shoulder. And Jesse Marsh has had words to say, actually, to Michael Salisbury, the fourth official. We have to keep an eye down there as well, Pat, after what happened last Sunday afternoon.
Well, the thing is, if the referee's letting it go, it's either a red card or nothing, I believe. So, it can't be a yellow, can it?
No.
So, I think it's going to go out, because that doesn't look like a red card to me.
Not to me either. No. Well, Strauch has received treatment. He'll have to leave the field. Obviously the protocols are involved here because it was a head injury, so he leaves the field on the far side. For anyone, by the way, who's wondering how can Thomas Tuchel be on the touchline today and has perhaps missed it, because it did come out quite late on Friday night, is that Meslier clears the ball away from inside his penalty area, but Cucurella heads it forward, bounces down centrally, comes back to Adams off Gallagher, and then the ball played forward by Christensen, but that comes back at Leeds again. But Tyler Adams is there, the American international, to play it up through the middle to his fellow USA international Brendan Aronson, who then is able to see the ball back into central defence, and Leeds have it in their own right back position. Yeah, the one match touchline ban that Thomas Tuchel has received is suspended currently, pending his written reasons for the incident, so he may yet serve a one match touchline ban. Now Aronson carries it forward promisingly and then tried to play the diagonal pass back infield, but Koulibaly read that. The ball's been won back by Marc Roca, though, the Spanish midfielder. Now down the left-hand side, Harrison's ball in! Mendy, full stretch, punches it away. Ball played in by Christensen. Rattles around the edge of the Chelsea penalty area, and then a crucial touch away from Reece James. And Chelsea play it downfield for Sterling, and Sterling is just beaten to it by Robin Koch, the central defender, who passes the ball down the line. Great tempo here. Aronson beats Koulibaly, has his shirt pulled. The place is in absolute ferment here. Everyone saw that white number 7 shirt being pulled. There's the cheers for the yellow card for the grab of the shirt. Koulibaly, first man booked.
Yeah, he's had 2 involvements in the game, Koulibaly. One of them, he completely and utterly flat-footed and was done totally by Rodrigo. Second one, done again on that left-hand side. He looks uncomfortable as a left centre-back. He looks like a player who would be more comfortable as a right centre-back. And he just pulls back. I mean, not only once, it was twice or 3 times he pulled back the shot there. That's really, really silly to be caught that early, because he had cover behind him. We're less than 9 minutes into the game and he's tiptoeing.
Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Still West Ham 0, Brighton 0. But the free kick for Leeds. Harrison left-footed plays it in. That was headed up and away. James, I think, got his head to it first in amongst a crowd of players. Comes back to the halfway line. Elland Road absolutely bathed in sunshine. Glorious sight. Got all of those winter months ahead of us, Pat. But lovely conditions today. Meslier just puts his foot on the ball and then overhits it away downfield. It bounces out of play. Jesse Marsh suddenly is very sprightly on the edge of the coaching area there. Unbeaten start to the season for him after the last gasp survival, and fourth official Michael Salisbury's already chasing after him and telling him that he can't go outside the technical area. Here's Cucurella now on the left-hand side for Chelsea. Cucurella challenged by Christensen, ran into the Danish international and has been brought back actually for a free kick to Chelsea 10 yards inside their own half. That wasn't for the Christensen challenge, was it?
I suspect it could have been for both, to be fair. I think Cucurella is slightly taken out of the game there. Again, his willingness to get forward. He never seems to get the ball and stay static. For a full-back there, he just keeps on going. But I think it's a good player, and Dan James are going to stick with him for pace.
James, his clearance came back at him, and then he's cleverly played the ball out of play off Harrison for a goal kick to Chelsea. So Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. So Thomas Tuchel had this big decision today in the absence of Kante, the injured Kante. Kovacic also out of the picture, injured at the moment. You know, whether he was going to disrupt things, bring Azpilicueta back in to play on the right-hand side of the 3 and move James out there and Loftus-Cheek in field. It was a big decision, Pat, wasn't it?
Do you know, and there's no obvious right one, because he's not got his favoured players in that sort of area, and Kovacic and Kante. It didn't want to take Ruben Loftus-Cheek away. So, yeah, tough decision for him. But at the moment, there's not a great deal between the teams. It's a really lively game, isn't it?
Gallagher caught in possession there, though, by Dan James, but it comes to nothing for Leeds. And Gallagher himself, after a free kick is given to Chelsea, takes the ball and hits it away downfield, and it bounces out of play off Loftus-Cheek. In fact, off the defender, off Stroud, who's back on the field, obviously. Okay, after that knock on the head. Throw in for Chelsea. Loftus-Cheek takes it. Back to Havertz, but then Chelsea lose possession. More Leeds cheers. Comes back to Tyler Adams on the edge of the box. Chips it away onto the head of James. They're unforgiving, aren't they, this Leeds crowd? A little mistake like that. There's a chorus of groans. Ball up to Aronson. Aronson, quite a slight figure. Even in these days of tight shirts, his white shirt seems to flop around his upper body. But as he tries to take it on, curly-haired Aronson, it runs away from him, and Chelsea have got the ball at the back again. Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Pat Nevin.
I think what Leeds are trying to do just now is if they can get James in any opportunity. I'm watching this as offside, by the way, so I'll carry on speaking. Havertz went too early. But James is starting on the right-hand side quite a lot of the time, but he's bending his run round. Now, he's got two things in his favour just now, James. If he finds himself 1-on-1 with Thiago Silva won't be able to stay with him. No chance, not a hope in the world. But also he's against Koulibaly, who's been booked already. If you're James, you want the ball. You want the ball put in there time and again, so you can have a go at both of those players just now. Both very good players, but both have slight problems at the moment.
Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Still West Ham 0, Brighton 0. If you've just switched on, Bristol City won 2-0 against Cardiff City. You might be leaving that match. You might want to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton about it later on 606. That is after the Newcastle-Manchester City commentary. Jorginho heading the ball away for Chelsea, and then Gallagher gets up, the blonde hair flopping over the top of their headband, but forward it goes for Chelsea and through to Meslier. Leeds have not beaten Chelsea for 20 years, nearly 20 years. It was late in 2002. 8 meetings since then. This famous old rivalry. Meslier just slips as he plays the ball out and rather slices it, but Christensen was underneath it. And then in the back line, Koch heads it forward to the halfway line. Jorginho's underneath that. And then Robin Koch is able to play it back to goalkeeper Meslier again.
Really impressed by Leeds in the midfield there. They're snapping into the challenges. They're leaving no space whatsoever. And I mean, they're going to have to do that for the entire game, but Adams has really taken the eye early on. He just doesn't give anyone space, does he?
Yeah, impressed. That's the new central midfield partnership, isn't it? In the absence of Calvin Phillips, now of Manchester City, you might be hearing him later when Ian Dennis and James McFadden are commentating on Newcastle and Manchester City, but it is Adams and Roca, the new midfield pair. Meslier clears from inside his penalty area. Cucurella turns it over the top, but that bounces away and back to Cucurella, who plays an immediate ball over the top for Sterling, who's away from Koch. Edge of the area, turns Koch again on his right foot, scores! There it is! But no, the offside flag is up. And not for the first time, Raheem Sterling is denied his first goal for Chelsea.
Yeah, it looked offside to me when he first got the ball. You can always see by the way the assistant referees, they've been taught not to raise a flag, but they can't help moving it just that slight little bit. So I knew he was going to put his flag up there, and he was absolutely right about it. Sterling was a good yard or so offside.
Yeah, well, they have told them, the assistant, if you're certain, do raise your flag. And certainly there, I think you're right, Pat. He knew. He knew
he was going to lift his flag, but he thought to himself, look, I can't do that if I've got it wrong. That's what they're told. If you're in doubt at all, you're absolutely right. If they're sure, yeah. But if you're in doubt, you've got to let it go.
Yeah, and it's one of the top men over there as well, James Mannering, one of the leading, the most expert of assistant referees. But so it is still Leeds United 0, Chelsea 0, and Raheem Sterling's wait goes on for his first competitive goal for the club. Harrison's won the ball back. He's made a bright start to the season. Harrison plays it across field and immediately putting the curse on him there as he passes the ball behind Rodrigo that runs out of play for three.
He's made the wrong choice. James had made that run that I was explaining before the game, in behind Thiago Silva to the right hand side between him and the right centre back. I'm sure he's been told by his manager to go and make that run as often as possible.
Aronson flicks it forward, the ball coming back at Chelsea. Adams now to Roca. Christensen makes himself available on the right-hand side. The sturdily built, short, blonde-haired Danish international, Christensen. And it finds its way back to him on the right-hand side from RB Salzburg, one of those players that Jesse Marsch knows all about. That was very much a theme with his signings this summer. And then Koulibaly is able to come across for Chelsea and put the ball out of play. Very nearly landed it on the roof of the stand. But another ball appears, of course, from one of the little cones around the pitch. Koch plays it in field. Now here's Strauch with his black hair tied up behind his head. Koch playing it out, Strauch playing it out to the left-hand side. Harrison is there, James comes short. Harrison up against two Chelsea men, Loftus-Cheek and Mount are there together. And then Leeds through Strauch go back to the halfway line. Still 0-0. Just switched onto us on 5 Live. Or BBC Sounds if you're on the move, and you might well be on an afternoon like this, as Roca plays the ball down the left looking for Harrison. Loftus-Cheek was able to get there first. James was able to get there first and play it back to Thiago Silva, and then the ball finds its way back to Mendy, who is able to clear it to Cucurella, and then Raheem Sterling back to Conor Gallagher. This is his first start for Chelsea in a competitive match. Cruyff turn from Mendy, the goalkeeper, under pressure. Koulibaly plays it to Gallagher. Gallagher under pressure. Leeds have won the ball back. Good work from Adams. Lovely change of feet. Rodrigo, then to Roca, and then Harrison. Harrison's pass couldn't find James, and the offside flag is up. But I think the referee might allow play to continue with the advantage. No, he's brought it back. He's brought it back.
Chelsea will be very disappointed in that. They had a very good position building their Ruben Loftus-Cheek was wide on the right there, but the Leeds fans loved that, didn't they? Because Chelsea tried to play it out to the back. They were under pressure the entire time, and eventually they did win the ball back. And we all know that if you win the ball back high up the field, you've got a much better chance of creating a chance.
Leeds already are putting a lot of pressure on Conor Gallagher whenever he's under the ball. You know, Jesse Marsch, anyone in football will know the situation with Gallagher and know that this is a big day for him. And Leeds are giving him no time at all. Just for those who haven't heard, Pat, the story at the start of last season.
Yeah, start last season he was playing for Chelsea against Bournemouth. He only had 45 minutes to impress Thomas Tuchel because in a friendly. I hadn't seen him before, and Conor didn't have a great time, but he wasn't playing a position that suited him. Gave the ball away a few times, gave chances away a few times, but he's playing in exactly the same position today, and we shall see if. Going forward, he's looking great so far, but it's whether he can do that in a kind of defensive way as well, the way Jorginho does.
Yep. Better player now, he has to be, after that experience with Crystal Palace last season and becoming an England international before he'd even played for Chelsea, his parent club. Here's another England international, Mason Mount on the far side. Mount back to Koulibaly, who curls it over the top. He's put far too much on that, and the ball just drops into the gloves of the goalkeeper.
Fabregas will struggle to play that ball through at his height, and Koulibaly's trying that. But having said that, Koulibaly did score an absolute worldie last week.
Yeah.
So I suppose he's been given a little bit of leeway to try a few things.
Yeah. Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Still West Ham 0, Brighton 0 in the other 2 o'clock kickoff. I'm sure we'll hear how things have started there before too long. But Leeds have a free kick, centre circle. And Roca and Adams together. They've already caught the eye, those two.
Yeah, they look good. I mean, you're right about Phillips. It was a big question mark. But at the moment, they're definitely not struggling.
Good from Adams again, into the challenge, wins it. Rodrigo shoots across the face of goal. I don't think it particularly troubled Mendy. The goalkeeper knew it was going across him and away and wide. But Rodrigo looking sharp, 3 goals already this season.
And one from an even arguably more acute angle than that. Beat the keeper at the near post, but this time he goes for the back post. I think Mendy had those angles covered there, but a good break again from Leeds.
Going back to Conor Gallagher, Pat, you've seen a few midfielders come and go at Chelsea over the years. Do you think he can make it? I mean, that's a huge question.
We certainly can make it with Chelsea, but what he's up against, he would like to play a little bit further forward. He'd like to play in the Mason Mount position, the Sterling position just now. You've got Ziyech there. You've got Pulisic. Havertz can go into that position as well.
Well, Hudson-Odoi is still at the club. He can play that.
So they're not desperate for players in that position. What they are needing is someone in a more defensive position. That's what he's playing today.
Straight to West Ham. Penalty, Henry Moran.
Penalty to Brighton. Debutant Tino Kehrer bringing down Danny Welbeck close to the edge of the box, but crucially inside the box. And so an opportunity for Alexis McAllister up against Lucas Fabianski, all in yellow. Away to my left, McAllister waits, stares at the ball, angled approach of 4 or 5 paces. Referee Anthony Taylor blows the whistle. Now there's a pause, there's a wait, the tension continues to build. Eventually McAllister, staring at Fabianski, begins the approach and scores, sends the keeper the wrong way, and West Ham, who have lost both of their opening games this season, are behind again. West Ham 0, Brighton 1.
Good start for Brighton. West Ham still looking for their first point, and it nearly opened up for Chelsea here as Mason Mount found a position inside the penalty area and cut back onto his left foot, and a low shot that was creeping in the bottom corner, but Meslier down to his left was able to push it away wide.
Yeah, it was a brilliant break there. Really set up with the fact that that power of Ruben Loftus-Cheek was able to win the header. Mount just couldn't get enough power on the ball.
So it is the resulting corner that is played in, but Robin Koch was up there to head it away, unchallenged for Leeds, back out towards the far side. So Chelsea start again from the halfway line, but that was a good opening for Mason Mount to get his first goal of the season. Conor Gallagher in the centre circle overhits the pass all the way through, way beyond Mount. Goal kick.
We'd like to say well done by Leeds United just now. Where Chelsea are strongest and where they're most dangerous often, it's down into the left-hand side, the right-hand side, the 2 wing-backs getting forward. I don't think there has been a crossing yet by Cucurella or Reece James, and that is the strongest point that Chelsea have, and that's where they create the vast majority of their goals. So well done, Leeds. They've actually stopped that completely by Chelsea so far.
Yes, although in also doing that, they've prevented us from having to have the conversation about how Chelsea have got these brilliant crosses of the ball, but they've got no one in the middle to put them in. But we might come back to that later. Ball's out of play on the halfway line. So Leeds 0, Chelsea 0, Brighton 1-0 up at West Ham. Commentary on Newcastle, Manchester City to come. And we're midway through the first half here in the glorious West Yorkshire sunshine. Throw in down the line, down the left. Mount is onto this now. Mount takes it into the box, tries to stab it across, hits a defender, almost comes back to Mount. Cucurella's in there. Christensen does well, just got his foot to it. Had to time that right, but he did. Put it out for a throw.
After seeing how good Leeds were defending, they completely left Mason Mount from a throw-in. They're looking for offside now. You can't be offside from a throw-in. Everybody knows that. And Mason Mount, again, he's breaking into good positions now, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's easing into the season, Pat, Mason Mount, I think I would say, after his opening performance at Goodison Park. Gallagher now underneath us is turning the ball into Dan James and winning a throw-in. Cucurella to take this. Cucurella with a throw taken down on the thigh of Havertz, and the tall German overhits the pass beyond Cucurella and out for a throw-in to Leeds. Big cheers from the home supporters.
It's a bit of a kind of Sanson moment for Chelsea centre forward Havertz. Since he's had his haircut, he's not looked quite the same, has he? Today he's really struggling to get involved in the match at all, and he's been really well policed by Koch and Llorente at the back. They've done a really good job in him. Well,
there was one or two suggesting that the left wing back should maybe get his hair cut after last week's event, as Dan James plays the ball forward, but under pressure played it straight to Loftus-Cheek, and Thiago Silva has it to Dan James, who's in the centre circle, and then Loftus-Cheek, little strong from Strout, too strong, fouled Loftus-Cheek, caught him in the back of the thigh, I think, or the buttock with his knee maybe. That's exactly what's happened. Free kick.
Classic. Now, Loftus-Cheek has a number of talents, but his best talent is rolling players. So if you play the ball up to him, he uses his physique and he rolls players. I think Leeds know all about that. So they just went and took him out of the play there. So next time he thinks of rolling somebody, I think he may well think twice.
Still waiting to take this free kick, Chelsea. Still waiting. I must hear, we've not actually had the conversation, you and I, have we, about what you made of everything that followed the aftermath of the Romero hair pull on Cucurella and the late admission in the week.
I mean,
from Mike Dean,
I may be living in a different era, but to have a newspaper column and make your decisions there, wow,
interesting, isn't it? Yeah. As Robin Koch does well inside the penalty area, clears it away against Sterling. Cucurella's back onto this, and Cucurella's cross is cleared away by Llorente on the edge of the 6-yard area. Still 0-0 if you just switched onto us here at Elland Road. Gallagher on the left-hand side for Chelsea on his full competitive debut. Gallagher turns, plays it into Adams. The ball bounces behind. I must say, with the naked eye, I thought that was a Chelsea corner, but referee Atwell was seeing it from a different angle and says it's a goal kick.
I think we probably had a slightly better angle than him. We got brilliant position here at Elland Road. Gallagher seemed shocked by it, but if in doubt, and you don't really know between a corner kick and a goal kick, you know they're always going to give a goal kick, don't you?
And Gallagher, just as he was running with Adams, just gave him a little pat on the head as the two of them were running together. Just a little effort to see if he can put Adams off his game, maybe wind him up. They know all the tricks now. Mind you, footballers have always known all the tricks, haven't they? Yeah. Here's Thiago Silva, just in stately Thiago Silva fashion, moving across there and taking possession of the ball. And Chelsea switch it to the left-hand side. Still 0-0 here. Brighton 1-0 up through the penalty, the McAllister penalty. Sterling back to the halfway line. What do you think so far, Sterling? Efforts so far?
Well, you mentioned the fact that he's not scored, but he's been one of Chelsea's best players. Absolutely, in each game he's played. He's against Everton, he was arguably the best player for Chelsea. He looks so lively. I mean, he's had the ball in the net already today, taking up great positions. He could do with a little bit of help up front.
Yeah, he could. As Gallagher just steps in and plays the ball back to Koulibaly, and here's Gallagher again with his blue Chelsea socks pulled up over his knees, and he's playing the ball to Thiago Silva. Almost played Thiago Silva into trouble there, but he was too sharp for that. Got there ahead of Rodrigo, and Chelsea clear away. So Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. Back to West Ham. Henry Moran.
West Ham 0, Brighton 1, approaching the half-hour mark, and since that penalty from Alexis McAllister, it's actually Brighton that have looked far more likely to double their lead. Leandro Trossard volleying wide just a moment ago. West Ham 0, Brighton 1.
Still 0-0 here, and a throw-in on the halfway line. Thomas Tuchel, best behaviour today, as I suspected he would be. He's not getting involved in anything. In fact, he's been quite a subdued figure, hasn't he? Certainly in contrast to Jesse Marsch down there in his black polo shirt. Like I say, good start to the season. This is just what Jesse Marsch needed, because there were everything that happened last season coming in as the man to replace Marcelo Bielsa. But then they did survive when many thought they might not, with that win, that last day win at Brentford. Christensen playing the ball over the top down the right-hand side, Aronson, but Koulibaly as well. The two of them together, the ball runs away off Koulibaly. It's a corner, first corner to Leeds.
There are gaps in behind that Chelsea back line there. Time and again, just let the ball clipped over the top, and they know they're going to go for it. And it doesn't really seem to matter which of the three up top there for Leeds United. They'll all chase in there, and they're getting little half chances, not exactly clear-cut chances, but half chances now.
Jesse Marsch just called Dan James across there, Pat, while Leeds were sorting themselves out for the corner, and had a word, so there are some instructions. So keep an eye on him just in case there's a change. So Aronson is going to take this from the right-hand side. Here's the delivery for Leeds towards the back post, which is headed up and over and wide by Llorente, I think it was, who got his head to it. Yes, it was. Stretching for it. So no threat to the Chelsea, to the Mendy goal. It remains Leeds 0, Chelsea 0.
It is very interesting. We talked about it before the game with Nedra Manor and Alan Shearer about that positioning Conor Gallagher's playing. And he clearly is a better player going forward. He's clearly a better player in the final third going forward. And I don't think it's a surprise at all that every time he gets the ball, as you mentioned before there, he gets closed down by two players usually in white. And it could well work out for Leeds.
Chelsea trying to build down the right-hand side. Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek and Mount, but it breaks down and Leeds come again. So they play from left to right in this first half. Lovely stuff from Leeds. Harrison now centrally curls it over the top. That's for the run of Rodrigo, but he won't get there. Mendy sprints out of his 6-yard box to the right and is able to clutch the bouncing ball and then overarm it out to Cucurella, who plays it back into central defence. Thiago Silva rolls the ball with his right foot for Loftus-Cheek, and the green boots are moving. Mason Mount over there as well, receives it from him, plays it back to James. James was fouled by Rodrigo. He knew he was coming there, James, and cleverly won the free kick because he knew. And Rodrigo has got a lot to say for himself, and Stuart Atwell, I think, is just warning him that he might have talked his way into the referee's notebook, as they say. And now Reece James is just pushing Jack Harrison away.
That strikes me as frustration for Chelsea on that right-hand side. They had such a good time last week. They're getting no space there. I think Strout's done really well. But the two central midfielders we're talking about for Leeds, Tyler Arabs and Roca, they're going across and they are working so hard to close the space there. And it is leading to a lot of frustration for Chelsea. So I think Leeds will be very happy with it, as will Marsh.
Yes, Aronson, the Chelsea free kick comes to nothing, and Aronson now over the halfway line, into the centre circle, beyond the centre circle he goes. Rodrigo from the angle shoots, but straight at Mendy. Comfortable save for him. James made ground through the middle, but the shot from the left side of the penalty area, straight at the goalkeeper.
That ball was played 3, 4, 5 seconds too late. Had it been played earlier, he was through and goal, and absolutely nobody was going to catch him there. That is maybe the one slight problem Leeds have got just now. They're making the space well. There are gaps in that Chelsea back line, not able to play those balls through with enough intelligence or quick enough so far.
And Loftus-Cheek caught in possession after inside his own half. Leeds can't take advantage with the pass from Harrison. I think it was beyond everyone.
You can actually see there. Look at Reece James just now with Thiago Silva. They're just talking to each other saying, look, this is a bit of a mess back here. There are too many gaps. Thiago Silva just says, you in here, mate. As if to say, come back, I need you 10 yards closer, because there are too many gaps opening up there.
It was exactly that. Thiago Silva, the and then points them closer.
It's so clear that he sniffed the problem as well, and it's clear there is a bit of a problem there, so he wants everyone to close up shop for a period of time until Chelsea get a little bit of control again.
Yeah, and Thiago Silva playing the ball back to Mendy, who's delayed. He's lost it. Leeds are going to take the lead. Aronson just rolls it over the line. The goalkeeper caught in possession. Awful error from the usually so reliable Edouard Mendy. Aronson was all over him and just had to wriggle it away and walk it into the net, and Leeds have the lead, and players are piling on top of one another in celebration. Leeds 1, Chelsea 0.
Do you know, it has been that 5 minutes or so we're talking about, just saying that it's not right in that Chelsea backline. Leeds could sniff it, you could feel it in it. Thiago Silva was saying to his players, get back here, there's a problem here, we're not getting out here. And Leeds knew it, and they closed down there. Having said that, we say Mendy is reliable, but not on the ground. He is not particularly good when the ball's at his feet. It's not the first time that's happened to him. And earlier on in this game, he got away with one that he was very lucky to get away with. And I think a lot of teams know that now. He can get caught out, and that's a big goal to lose for Chelsea and for Mendy. And a great one. And you would argue over the last 5 or 10 minutes, deserved for Leeds.
Well, as I mentioned, Leeds have not beaten Chelsea for nearly 20 years. Great noise around the place now. That's just what they wanted, to get their noses in front. Goal being scored in the 33rd minute by the 21-year-old American international Brendan Aronson. It's his first goal for Leeds United. He'll remember that for the rest of his life. And now Jorginho is picked up for a foul on Dan James in the centre circle, and Jorginho protests about this. Koulibaly has come across as well.
I think he's given the foul against Koulibaly, hasn't he? He's flown in where he doesn't need to go in there. It doesn't seem to be a huge amount. I don't think it's going to be a second yellow card for Koulibaly, but he thinks he got the ball there. But the referee was very, very close to it.
Chelsea under pressure again. Things not going for them after the way that the goals were conceded last week. Here they've only got themselves to blame.
They have lost control of the game, and they've started very, very well. Sterling was getting on the ball in good areas, but in the last 10 minutes or so, they just lost complete control of it, getting close down and aren't getting out.
Leeds 1, Chelsea 0. Chelsea did the double over Leeds last season with all of their troubles going on, but Chelsea with their noses in front. Here is Struijk, the left back as he is, at the moment to start this season. He gives it to Harrison on the left-hand side, and Harrison's cross is cleared away by the leaping Thiago Silva with his left foot. Plays it out to the far side. The thing is, Edouard Mendy had actually, do you remember there was a Cruyff turn earlier in the game?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Yeah.
The one where he got away with,
which was not entirely comfortable.
No, it absolutely wasn't. And you watch it regularly, and I think most managers will say, look, put him under pressure, and there's definitely a mistake in him when the ball's at his feet.
Leeds have won the ball back again, but the referee has
a dive, I think that was.
A dive by Roca inside the penalty area, and I think he'd already given the free kick.
Which is an odd one. He's given the free kick beforehand.
On the left-hand side.
Yeah, he's given a yellow card there. I think the referees have been told to do that.
And then Roca dived into the box. And he's given the yellow card.
It's a pointless yellow card there in that case.
That was odd.
Very odd. I can't ever remember seeing that happen again. However, Leeds get themselves into a good position for a free kick, and how they would love to get a set. Got some very good players that are capable of creating something out of nothing. At the moment, Chelsea for 10 or 15 minutes haven't got out of their own half.
No, I think 30-odd thousand Leeds fans are thinking exactly the same. Get another one now. Right, this free kick then on the left-hand side. Aronson, the goal scorer, and Harrison together. White shirts near the penalty spot. It is Harrison who plays it in. Oh, near post header! It's in! It's Rodrigo! It's 2-0 to Leeds United! They've scored twice in 4 minutes, and Chelsea are right up against it here at Elland Road now. Rodrigo, 3 matches played, 4 goals scored this season, and it's Leeds United 2, Chelsea 0.
He's just tiptoed through the entire defence there, no one marking him at all, and it's a great ball, and it's in a really dangerous area. He's got a lot to do when that ball comes to him, but he's got up and he's just flicked it. I'm trying to think if he actually got the last touch, and whether Reece James was the closest player, and he certainly, when he got close, but he didn't get close enough. So that's 2-0, and you just felt it. And the Leeds fans felt it. You mentioned it just before they scored the goal, and at this moment, Chelsea looked shell-shocked. And the good thing about Leeds is they didn't score a goal then sit back. They scored a goal and then continued, because they knew they could see a weakness at Chelsea's back line.
Leeds United 2, Chelsea 0. Chelsea breaking away down the right-hand side. Now it's Chelsea who would love to get a goal back before half-time. We're in the 38th minute. Loftus-Cheek making good ground, winning a throw-in next to the corner flag. Or did it go out for a corner? I think maybe it did. It bounced this side of the
actually
of the
hit
flag.
the flag. It actually hit the flag. So the assistant referee's right beside it. So he must have thought it hit the flag then went for a corner.
Well, what an energetic moment that was when that second goal in. Just a little glancing header. What was he, 10 yards out? The delivery from Harrison. So that's the 3rd goal that he's created this season. Jack Harrison, this one from a free kick.
It was a great free kick. It really was. Defenders hate that sort of ball.
Leeds United supporters buoyant. Here's the corner. Thiago Silva with a header, but it bounces right across the 6-yard box. It's kept in by Koulibaly. Sterling's after this. Sterling plays it back to Cucurella. Cucurella's ball into the penalty area, straight at James, who controls it and clears it away downfield. And this crowd, this Leeds United crowd, you would expect, I'd be disappointed if they weren't onto Edouard Mendy. I think any football crowd would, but you certainly don't want an Elland Road crowd against you. But Loftus-Cheek doing well on the right, plays it across the box. Cucurella screws his shot badly wide, arriving, went for the side foot and side-footed it 3 yards wide.
Well, first of all, Chelsea, good reaction there from them. That move I was telling you about Loftus-Cheek, that roll of the player. Well, he did it inside the box, so they can't tackle him when he's inside the box. So he rolled down, got to the byline, cut it back. Bit of a shame for Cucurella. It wasn't straight onto his left foot, so he had to adapt to his body. Didn't panic and try and lash it, tried to pass it in. Right thing to do, couldn't get it on target, but a little bit better for Chelsea. And Thomas Tuchel, I mean, at the moment, he'll be absolutely fuming. And I think he'll be wanting to make some major changes if they end up getting in at half-time at 2-0.
Well, I think the widespread expectation was that Leeds would do well to get something out of this game today. Not so. 5 minutes to go to half-time. and Jesse Marsh's team are leading by 2-0. Rodrigo playing the ball over the top from the halfway line, looking for James, but it's headed out to Cucurella, who passes it into space. Conor Gallagher is there. Gallagher eased off the ball by Christensen. He's claimed he was caught by an arm. Not sure there was a great deal in that.
Well, he didn't go and roll about as if he'd been smashed in the face. He stood up and said, look, I was blocked. I was away. The defender couldn't get back. So actually, I'd applaud Conor Gallagher for that.
Yeah, Gallagher takes the free kick. So 2-0 to Leeds United. Last season, with all of their troubles, Leeds lost every game they played here against what you might call the Big Six. I say that because I think Manchester United we consider to be one of the Big Six, but they lost all of those games to those teams here. This season, they're winning handsomely now by 2-0.
And Chelsea have no answers. At the moment, they have no answers. They can't play through the middle because in that central area they're getting closed down, and certainly Jorginho and
Conor Gallagher played it past Roca, and it just played it past them, and then with Roca arriving, the two of them bumped into one another. They've just collided. I think it might well have.
It'll be a free kick, but I don't think either player knew a great deal about that. No, Conor Gallagher just turned into it, and so 1.
Yeah, it was. I think Conor Gallagher has taken a knock on maybe his cheek.
Maybe his nose at his cheek.
Yeah, nose, cheek.
Do you know, when the game's played at this pace, and it has been played at an extraordinary pace, particularly in that midfield, there's just no space in there. I mean, you turn round, usually a couple of players are closing you down, putting in a tackle or block. It's just I mean, there will be a little bit more space in the second half. That will happen. However, at the moment, that is a hard place to get the ball down, get your head up and play a pass. I have to say, I must applaud Leeds United. Every area where Chelsea are strong, usually controlling the game in that midfield to Jorginho, not letting them get on the ball. Usually the wide players like Reece James, obviously Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Cucurella, getting them on the ball, getting crosses in. Ain't happening at all because they've been closed down. Brilliant work rate and great organisation for Leeds so far.
So Leeds 2, Chelsea 0. Roca is having to leave the field. He's rubbing the right top of his head. While he does that, shall we get an update on West Ham Brighton from Henry Moran?
Into the final 3 minutes of the first half. West Ham 0, Brighton 1. A penalty on 21 minutes, the difference between the sides. Since then, Brighton have been far the better. They've looked much more likely to double their lead than West Ham have looked like getting back into this game. Though I say that, an attack on the right-hand side could offer some hope for West Ham as the cross comes in easily into the gloves of keeper Sanchez. West Ham 0, Brighton 1.
Chelsea on the attack down the left-hand side, winning a throw-in. 14 yards back from the corner flag. Cucurella takes it. Half-time approaching. Cucurella gets it back, gives it to Sterling. Lovely. Beats Adams. Koch comes in with a challenge, and the ball bounces away off the Leeds man. It's a corner. Corner to Chelsea from the... this is the first one they've had from the left-hand side. Now, I expected Cucurella was going to come across here and take this, but he's not. It's going to be Mount. I immediately looked to Cucurella, but it's going to be an in-swinger from Mount.
Big moment though, a couple of minutes before half-time.
Need a good delivery for Chelsea. Mount plays it in. Strout was up, the tall Strout, to head it away. Conor Gallagher, who's okay after that knock that he took, and Roca is back on the field as well. James with a cross from the left-hand side. It's headed away to Sterling. Sterling tried to daintily play it through, but Adams intercepted on the edge of the box and volleyed it away to the halfway line. Bright sunshine, glorious conditions, glorious for Leeds United, not so clever for Chelsea, who are facing their first defeat of the new season. Felt they should have won last weekend, felt the world was against them, certainly the officiating, and here they've conceded 1 goal from a goalkeeping error, 1 from a free kick, and now they're trying to force their way back into the game. Throw in, James takes it. Cucurella still trying to get a ball back down near the corner flag. Another ball's appeared from the cone, and plays actually going on with him with his back turned through the middle to Havertz, and then Havertz gets no joy at all out of Koch, and so Leeds to James on the halfway line. James right-footed over the top, but Reece James that is, heads it away for Chelsea. Mount to the right. Loftus-Cheek now shows too much of it to Strout, who came in, and the ball bounced out of play off the Leeds man Strout for a throw-in to Chelsea down the right in the last minute of the first half. So we'll see Michael Salisbury with his board very shortly down there. See Jesse Marsh is making some making some notes rather urgently, and actually one of his staff has just disappeared down the tunnel.
He'll have to keep his notebook out, because the changes that Chelsea will make at half-time is nothing surer. I mean, personnel probably, but even tactically, I'll be amazed if Reece James stays as the right centre-back and centre-half.
Loftus-Cheek receives the ball on the right-hand side in the court, in the left-back position, gives it to Mount. Mount's there as well. Back to James. James moves in field and then into Thiago Silva. Chelsea 2-0 down here to Leeds. Koulibaly to Sterling. Sterling beats Adams, but then runs into Aronson. Now Jorginho to the edge of the box to Loftus-Cheek. There's an overlapping run from James, who just got the ball caught underneath his right foot as the foot arrived, and that sent the ball through for a goal kick. And you can hear the reaction from the home supporters in the Don Revie stand.
It kind of sums up Chelsea in the first half, doesn't it? Considering how brilliant and almost telepathic Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Reece James were last week, and now they can't even play a 2-yard pass to each other.
But Leeds are wise to it.
I know, and so they should be. I mean, if they studied that game and knew that was their strength. That's easy to say. And Jesse Marsh has put a team there that's, stopped Chelsea in the right, stopped them in the left, killed their midfield, and caused them problems at the back. That's pretty good organisation.
That's Pat Nevin with us here at Elland Road. Leeds 2, Chelsea 0. Leeds, here's Aronson. He's going to have a go from distance, which he does, but Mendy is able just to move to his right and scoop it up. Shot from about, 22, 23 yards. So Aronson scored the first after Edouard Mendy was caught in possession. How many times do we say that during the course of a... Well, the goalkeeper was caught in possession, and it led to a goal.
And you know why they do it, though, John? I mean, they do it because there's a good reason for doing it, but the keeper has to be good enough to do it.
Koulibaly playing the ball over the top. Mount trying to get a touch on that, but it just ran off his toe and through to goalkeeper Meslier. So Aronson was able to run the ball into the net. There's the half-time whistle. Aronson scoring the opening goal in the 33rd minute after that Mendy error. And then the second goal from Harrison's free kick on the left. A little glancing header from captain today, Rodrigo. 4 goals now in the 3 matches that he's played this season. I always felt, as the players head towards the tunnel now, you see a little bit, one of the Leeds coaching staff just wouldn't a good arm to strike me today.
Yeah, anything under 35 yards and you're in danger. Ian, thank you very much. Ian Dennis will have James McFadden alongside him for full commentary from St James's Park. It is going to sound absolutely fantastic. Newcastle versus Manchester City. It'll have to go some to sound better than Elland Road. What an unbelievable first half for Leeds United, who lead Chelsea by 2-0. Thomas Tuchel is just retaking his seat. So let's rejoin Pat Nevin and John Murray.
Yes, you're right, Steve. Terrific noise, wasn't it, in the first half? Yes, Thomas Tuchel in his baseball cap of Chelsea blue is just climbing down into the dugout. But, Pat Nevin, no changes for Chelsea.
Not that I can see just now.
No changes of personnel.
Yes, I'm going to have a very, very strong look at...
There we are. Leeds get us underway in the second half.
They might actually go to back for Chelsea. I'm just looking at them there. And maybe Cucurella, James right back, 2 centre-backs.
Yeah, that is Loftus-Cheek, who currently is quite central. Plays the ball back to Thiago Silva, who knocks it square to Koulibaly.
That is, by the way, that might not sound like a lot, but you know, the fact that they were struggling with 3 centre-backs and have now only got 2, one of whom is booked and the other one who is wonderful but rather not the quickest player in the world, that will certainly interest one or two of the Leeds players going forward.
It does look, Pat, doesn't it, as though Loftus-Cheek is going to play alongside Jorginho centrally, and then Conor Gallagher and Mount further forward.
Yeah, and you think Mount, Conor Gallagher behind Sterling and Havertz, so it's, you could almost look at it as a 4-2-2-2.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Leeds 2, Chelsea 0 in the glorious sunshine. Glorious day for Leeds United. 2 goals in the first half, 2 goals in 4 minutes from Aronson after Edouard Mendy's mistake, and Rodrigo with a glancing header. The captain today, Leeds, captained by Rodrigo, with Meslier in goal. Christensen, Koch, Llorente and Strout, the back 4 again, as it has been throughout the season so far, the early days of this season. Adams and Roca in the middle, and then James was mainly on the right, Harrison on the left, and Aronson playing behind Rodrigo, who is furthest forward most of the time, and the crowd are getting onto Mendy after his error in the first half. Thiago Silva then hits a long right-footed ball looking for Sterling, but Christensen was underneath that. It was a sort of diagonal ball, but the right back, the Leeds right back, was able to head it away. And then Conor Gallagher might have been caught from behind in an aerial challenge. Cucurella plays it back to Mount. Mount towards the left, thought about the cross. Mount then plays it to Cucurella down the line. Cucurella's deep cross, looking for James. James arriving on the far side of the penalty area, but Leeds have got lots of bodies in there, and James has to go back to Loftus-Cheek, who is under pressure. Oh, he's come out of it with the ball. Brilliant play, Loftus-Cheek. And then Gallagher back to Loftus-Cheek, who angles it across. Mount in with the chances, back to goal, gives it to Cucurella onto his right foot, who shoots then wildly wide and high into the Norman Hunter stand.
Yeah, he wanted to hit it with his left foot, but he was closed down, and that is exactly what Leeds have been really good at. Closing down, no space whatsoever, takes on his right foot, he's still being closed down again, and then it slashes really wide. But a bit of an injury, it's a really bad fall there, right in the centre of the midfield there. It's Tyler Adams who went down, but he's got himself up again. Looks okay after, well, considering the amount of effort he put into that first half. He's allowed a little rest.
That's Pat Nevin with us, Scotland international, former Chelsea man, twice Chelsea Player of the Year. Leeds coming forward. I have a feeling that it's going to be eyes right for most of this second half for us, but we might be wrong. Leeds attacking to our left towards the Don Revie stand. That's what they're doing now, and it's James who gets his head down. Dan James, the Welsh international, turns back. Chelsea in front of him. Strout, and then back it goes to Aronson. The crowd warn Roca that Havertz is coming. Havertz has been very quiet, made a quiet start to the season, I'd say. And here's Aronson now. Aronson, scorer of the opening goal, back to the halfway line where Llorente plays a crossfield pass. Christensen heads it forward. Rodrigo might have been offside, shoots, comes off Koulibaly, bounces behind. It's a corner, onside.
And there will be chances, I think, because you've got just 2 centre-backs there. Leeds have done very, very well breaking from those midfield areas. It wasn't a clear-cut chance, and Koulibaly got across well, but there'll be more spaces in that Chelsea back line, which is slightly worrying for Chelsea fans, because there was plenty of spaces in the first half.
Hundreds and hundreds of bare arms above heads over there applauding as Aronson goes across to join Harrison, the two of them together. They've got their hands over their mouths in discussion, just in case someone, God forbid, lip reads what they're saying as they're about to take a corner. That would be like breaking the Official Secrets Act. Harrison is going to take it, swings it into the near post, comes off Havertz's head, bounces high off his head, hasn't cleared the box. Thiago Silva gets his head to it, still in the Chelsea area, headed back. Llorente still up there in the area. He runs it out into the right back position, takes on James, and James turns, got his hands into Llorente, passes it forward to Sterling. Chelsea are on the counter attack here. Havertz is available in the middle, defenders coming back. Sterling running at Adams, gives it to Mount. Mount's shot hits the back of Harrison and bounces away to Cucurella. And Cucurella, as Chelsea now in the blue, are all over the white of Leeds. Sterling left side of the penalty area, did have the ball in the net in the first half again for Chelsea, but once again it was ruled out, and Cucurella goes sprawling down, and referee Atwell says the offside flag was up, and it's a free kick to Leeds United, and more home cheers.
Again, it was it's a bit intense again at the start of this second half. Good attack by Leeds before they get a corner kick, but that break from Chelsea. Sterling, he was slowed down just about enough by Tyler Adams. That was enough to allow his teammates to get back there, and any half chance Chelsea had was snuffed out.
So Leeds in the all-white kit playing against Chelsea in the all-blue today. White numbers on the back. Koulibaly playing it through the middle to Mount. Mount now more centrally in this match. Mount playing the ball to Cucurella on the left-hand side. Thomas Tuchel's made these tactical tweaks. Didn't make any substitutions, just changed the system. Jorginho back to Cucurella. Low ball right across the edge of the box. Loftus-Cheek's low shot. It's deflected into the path of Gallagher, who shoots, blocked by the goalkeeper, but the offside flag was up against Conor Gallagher, who must have thought that it was opening up for his first Chelsea goal, but the flag would have ruled it out anyway.
He would have done, but he's getting himself forward. This is where Conor Gallagher's better. Ball's come through. There was no way in a month of Sundays that he was offside, but Sterling was, and the ball had come off him.
Leeds 2, Chelsea 0. Celtic and Hearts are underway in Glasgow. Celtic 0, Hearts 0. That's in the early stages. 3 o'clock kickoff there. We'll keep you updated on that, and it's still West Ham 0, Brighton 1 in the other 2 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League. You'll be able to talk about it all later with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on 606, hashtag BBC 606. If you want to get involved in social media, you can read all about it on the BBC Sport website and app. The day's football. You can watch the highlights. Match of the day too tonight. Alan Shearer's on with Mark Chapman, and of course via BBC Sounds you can rewind the live radio, so if you're a Leeds fan you can listen to it all night. Here's James taking the ball forward. He was blocked. It's a free kick forward and right of the centre circle, and Leeds now in this situation leading by 2-0, of course are in no hurry at all. Just a blatant block pat by Cucurella.
It was a block, but Chelsea had got themselves in a bad position there. Ruben Loftus-Cheek had tried that move I would be mentioning all game. Leeds are wise to it. They just blocked him because it's in the midfield there, won the ball, and that was Chelsea in danger again.
2-0, Leeds lead. Here's Adams in with Mount centrally. Ball bounces away off the two of them out towards the right-hand side to Christensen. And then James stabs it forward, but it bounces away from Aronson, and Chelsea have got it back inside their own half. The ball is played across the penalty area from Koulibaly to Mendy, who just puts his right foot through it and passes it high out towards Cucurella on the left-hand side.
I think he's decided to give up on the Cruyff moves.
Cruyff is off the menu for the Chelsea goalkeeper. Thiago Silva just teases a pass out to the right-hand side. Cucurella backs away to the white line on the far side, allows it to hit his body. This is quite static from Chelsea though. Jorginho, crossfield pass to James. Now James gets his heads down the right wing. Conor Gallagher with a cross that comes off the Leeds man Llorente and bounces out of play in the end for a throw to Chelsea halfway inside the Leeds half. 2-0 to the home side. And James holding the ball above his head, looking for movement. Loftus-Cheek is there with the stretch. I mean, Chelsea, as the ball bounces out of play, well, that comes to nothing. After the throw-in, James and Loftus-Cheek have a chat together. the substitutes that Thomas Tuchel could turn to here. So on the bench today, as well as Kepa, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Chukwuemeka is on the bench for the first time, the recent arrival from Aston Villa. Ethan Ampadu is there as well for the first time this season. As Leeds break forward, Aronson now receives it from Christensen. Aronson looking for the run of Christensen, tried to find him but chipped it straight into Thiago Silva and then pushed over Jorginho. So it's a free kick to Chelsea on the edge of their own box.
Yeah, once again, a brilliant run from Rodrigo there, straight through the centre of the D in the 18-yard line there. Had he managed to get the ball through to him, he was one-on-one with Mendy once again. Again, there's chances there, there's half little spaces and half little gaps. I suspect the scoring isn't over in this game.
No, I was just going to say it to you, Pat. That's what makes this fascinating here. 2-0 to Leeds United. But you can tell everyone knows it. The next goal, absolutely so important in this match. And Chelsea probing away. Cucurella, Thomas Tuchel's tried to do his thing, making those changes. The tactical changes, but it breaks down and Leeds break forward, and this is the thing. Leeds now, Dan James, they're saying get it into the box, which he does, and it's kneed wide by the arriving Harrison. Rodrigo and Harrison were in there together. It's actually, did it come off a defender? Yeah. It did in the end. It's a corner.
Again, every time they attack Leeds, they know that there's gaps there, they know that they can create chances. And that back line's having to be very intelligent in Chelsea, because they know they haven't got the pace. They know they can't take any chances of creating fouls, particularly Koulibaly, who's already on a yellow card. And you get a feeling Leeds can smell blood. That's what it is just now. They know if they get the next goal, they almost certainly will get not only 3 goals but 3 points.
Here's Aronson and Harrison involved in those discussions again, behind the hands. What have you spotted, Pat?
Now, just watching Jorginho, there's 2 Chelsea players marking 4 Leeds players that are in the box. He was looking for some help there, but that's the way it goes when you're zonally marking.
It's going to be Aronson to take this one towards the back post. It's headed away by Loftus-Cheek, comes out to Sterling on the edge of the box. Koch very nearly got there. Adams hits the shot from 25 yards. That's blocked on the edge of the area, bounces to Gallagher, but Gallagher's passed downfield looking for the run of Havertz. Meslier was quickly out of his penalty area, got there comfortably.
Well, I mean, I know it's an easy thing to say, but had that not been Gallagher and had that been De Bruyne, Havertz would have got that ball and he would have been one-on-one with a goalkeeper. Great chance for Chelsea to get away there, and they never took it.
Yeah, but not everyone's Kevin De Bruyne, are they? Here is Mason Mount now cutting in from the left-hand side, gives it square to Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek turns, passes the ball out to James. James angles it back. Gallagher turns his man in the box. Left foot shot deflected, which took it wide. It went dribbling wide after that deflection. It was on target, but the deflection took it wide. It's a corner to Chelsea from the left. But before that, here's Roddy Forsyth in Glasgow, because
Celtic are leading by a 0-0. Maeda crossing onto the 6-yard line, and there was, yes, it of course would be Kyogo Furuhashi to side-foot it into the net. Celtic 1, Hearts 0.
Here's the Chelsea corner, which is headed away for Leeds near the penalty spot. Comes out to Gallagher. Conor Gallagher selected today alongside Jorginho, but now being pushed further forward at half-time on his first start for Chelsea. Ball played into the middle. Havertz tried to get that down, but Christensen was in there and was able to stab it away out of play down the right-hand side for a throw-in to Chelsea. We'll be going to West Ham Brighton in a moment or two again. Brighton winning 1-0. But Chelsea take the throw, putting pressure on Leeds. Loftus-Cheek, though, goes back to the halfway line, and Thiago Silva in the shadows cast by the John Charles stand. It's where we're sitting, high up in the gantry. Now back into the sunshine. And then Koulibaly, little ball forward. Sterling's after this. Sterling got there, just touches it out to the left-hand side. Cucurella's now onto the ball for Chelsea. And then the ball is played in by Mount crossfield, but that is cut out by Harrison. And Leeds now leads into Chelsea territory, but Loftus-Cheek on the chase, and Harrison's done well. He's beaten Loftus-Cheek and James after going to ground initially, and then Harrison plays it infield to Dan James, and now Rodrigo just outside the box. Got rather caught up underneath him, but Leeds are still in possession with over half an hour still to play of this match. Adams through to Aronson, and then Tyler Adams to Christensen, the right back. Christensen, Aronson makes himself available, and Leeds knocking it around now inside the Chelsea half, trying to frustrate the visitors, the team that finished 3rd in the Premier League last season, Chelsea. not won the title since Antonio Conte in 2017. This could be their first defeat of the season. Leeds now building on the left-hand side and winning themselves a throw-in, and I think we're going to see the first change. No, not yet. Leeds take the throw. Struijk to Harrison. Harrison into the full-back position. Harrison with a backheel flick, but Thiago Silva read that and clears it away downfield. And then Havertz beats Llorente, but still 10 yards inside his own territory. He's got a long way to go. Havertz now into the Leeds half, turns it infield. Mount takes it on near the edge of the box now. Sterling with a back heel into the path of Cucurella. Cucurella's left-footed cross is over the top of Havertz and runs away down into the left-back position. Conor Gallagher, though, is onto this. Ball stationary at his feet. Struijk with a challenge, bounces out for a throw.
Yeah, and again, Leeds, they know how to just close things down. That was a really quick break by Chelsea, but the speed, once again, it was Tyler Adams. He's over there, he's slowed them down, and they had absolutely nowhere to go. Brilliant defending.
While Leeds bring on Forshaw for Roca in the midfield, Henry Moran will update us from West Ham.
Just approaching the hour mark, still West Ham 0, Brighton 1, but so much better from the home side in this second half. Cresswell's had a half volley blocked inside the box. Fornell's drive straight at Sanchez. Just warning shots to Brighton that West Ham are starting to build into this game. West Ham 0, Brighton 1.
And as we heard from Roddy Forsyth, Celtic leading 1-0 against Hearts through that Furuhashi goal. Earlier, Bristol City 2-0 winners against Cardiff City. Cricket continues on Sports Extra. Premier League football on 5 Live. On this 5 Live Premier League Sunday, live from Elland Road, St James's Park, the next venue for Newcastle against Manchester City. But Leeds 2-0 up. Chelsea with the ball inside the Leeds half, though. Loftus-Cheek now down to the right to James. James stretch, gets the ball under control, plays it into the near post, where Robin Koch, a falling Robin Koch, puts it wide of his near post and behind.
Well, I'm not understanding why that's not a corner kick. There must have been an offside. So the ball was...
Yes.
Yeah, it was...
James on the race. Very close.
I'm not convinced that the assistant referee's got that right.
I'm not sure it was. But anyway, that's given us a free kick. VAR can't get involved in that. Yeah. So Leeds 2, Chelsea 0 the score. And it is fascinatingly poised. Leeds United, who have lost who've not won in their last 8 meetings with Chelsea. Last time Leeds beat Chelsea, James Milner was among the scorers. But the remarkable thing about that is it was 20 years ago, and Milner's still playing, as we know. Be involved tomorrow night, likely. You'll hear coverage of that during the Monday Night Club on 5 Live, Manchester United, Liverpool. Here's Sterling on the left-hand side. Sterling plays it infield, and the ball bounces out of play for a throw to Chelsea on the left. Yeah, mixture of live football this coming midweek on 5 Live Sport. We've got commentary from the League Cup, Fleetwood, Everton on Tuesday night, plus coverage of all of the midweek games. And then the second leg of Rangers game, their tie against PSV. You'll hear that live from the Netherlands on Wednesday night. And then the Champions League draw, Chelsea will be involved in that. It's tea time on Thursday. So you'll hear good coverage of that because it's in Drive on Thursday afternoon from 4 o'clock onwards. Leeds 2, Chelsea 0 in the Premier League, though. And it's going to be Pulisic, Pat. In fact, it's going to be a double change. Ziyech and Pulisic will come on.
I was slightly surprised that he didn't make changes at half-time, but I think he wanted to see how this system works out. He wanted to put Sterling up alongside Havertz. To be fair, they're playing as double strikers just now. I'm not convinced they've passed the ball to each other yet. And if you're playing as double strikers, you need to work off each other. And it just ain't happening.
There's been no sign of that.
Nothing.
Yeah. So Pulisic coming on for Conor Gallagher. There was a little bit of talk that Leeds might be a possible destination for Conor Gallagher, but you know, he as I said earlier, he wants to make it work at Chelsea. This was his third competitive appearance, his first start. Jorginho is replaced by Ziyech.
Well, that's right. The two centre midfielders.
Come on then, Pat. Tell me what's going on there.
I would say he'll go for a diamond. So put Ruben Loftus-Cheek at the back of that diamond. Pulisic one side, Ziyech the other side. I'm kind of guessing that just now. It's very difficult to see what he can do there, but it would appear that Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a single sitting defensive midfielder.
Bold.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just went 4-2-2-2, so he just basically You wonder if he's just throwing things and hoping something sticks at the moment. You know, this is the third system maybe of the game so far. So far, none have really worked really well.
No, they haven't. Leeds 2, Chelsea 0. Chelsea facing their first defeat of the season. But that's a low shot from James from 22 yards from the angle. Carried the ball on, hit it low, and Meslier went down to his right. Had a good sight of it. As Jimmy Armfield, who I sat here many, many times with, right, he would have said I was right behind that, and it was pushed round and wide for a corner.
Yes, it was. It was a good shot there, and certainly Reece James coming more into the game now, and that's the one change that has worked, him moving up.
Chelsea corner. This is deep. Koulibaly is after it, heads it goalwards, but it's caught by Meslier. Got no real power on that, and the Leeds goalkeeper was able to stretch up to his left and catch it.
I can understand why Koulibaly's gone for goal there, but there's no chance of scoring from that angle. There's a bunch of Chelsea players back in the 6-yard line. He's got to put that across there, but there are Chelsea players that can attack it.
So now things have shaken up with the substitutes coming on. Certainly Pulisic on the right-hand side. Ziyech seems quite central, but Leeds breaking away down the right with Dan James, but Koulibaly blocked the shot through himself, sliding in front of it, out for a throw to Leeds.
Well, that's the diamond you're talking about, you know. So the four at the back, the base of the diamond's Loftus Cheek. Either side you've got Pulisic and Mount. The front of the diamond you're going to have Ziyech. That's the position he prefers to play in, and two strikers up front.
Yeah, and of course quite a lot of talk about Pulisic and Ziyech perhaps moving away from Chelsea, perhaps on loan during the course of this month. Leeds take the throw into the penalty area, and it bounces away off James and behind for a goal kick.
It's interesting listening to Thomas Tuchel talk, and he feels this is a transitional season, and he's been here a year and a half. He's won the Champions League, but he still feels this is a massive transitional season.
Yeah, but I mean the changeover with the squad is quite significant now, with, it seems, more to come. And you know, as you've said, you've kept on saying it, Pat, and clearly this talk of Fofana continues after he sat out the game yesterday. But after what happened to Chelsea in the first half,
well, the problem they had is to put Reece James as one of the most important players going forward. They had him stuck at right centre back. Leeds done their homework. He never got forward in the first half, and it stopped Chelsea being creative on the whole side of the pitch. Now he's had to adapt that and change that, and Reece James can get a little bit further forward now. You don't have that problem if you've got another centre back.
Well played by Rodrigo. Yeah, that's great relief for Leeds. He was able to take the ball downfield and win a corner off Thiago Silva. So it's a corner for Leeds on the left-hand side. This two-man situation again. Harrison and Aronson. Aronson runs over it. It's going to be Harrison this time to the near post, headed away by Havertz for Chelsea. Sterling, but Chelsea have got everyone back. Sterling plays it beyond Adams and then goes down, and the referee's having none of that, and Leeds have got possession back. Another goal at West Ham, Henry Moran.
West Ham 0, Brighton 2. It's a wonderful breakaway goal. Pascal Gross with the flick around the corner. There was Trossard breaking forward to slot the ball past Fabianski. West Ham 0, Brighton 2.
Will be a really good start to the season for Brighton if they hang on to that. And West Ham still without a point. 2-0 to Leeds. Here come Chelsea though. James, there's the offside flag against Reece James again, just mistiming his run in the opinion of the assistant down there. So it's a free kick to Leeds deep inside their own half, and we are now, Pat, into the last quarter of the match.
It's a real surprise that James rarely ever times that wrong. Yeah, again, it was very, very tight, hard to see, but the assistant's down there right beside it. But you know, you can't say in this second half, Chelsea 2-0 down at half time, you thought there would be wave after wave after wave of attack.
Because that was the subject of fact of the day on Drive on Friday, City and Sweet. Here's Rodrigo playing it forward to Dan James down the left-hand side. He's in the full-back position. Cross from James, right-footed. Oh, it's bounced in! It's there! Harrison stretched and put it in. Rodrigo with the initial touch. Whether Harrison was offside, there's no flag. It's a third goal for Leeds United. Surely they're on the way to the 3 points against Chelsea. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0.
Well, he did say there were spaces at that back line at Chelsea there, and they were shown. They had no one covering it at all. Like yourself, I thought for a moment there it might have been offside, but I'm feeling that Thiago Silva was maybe sitting a little bit deep in the far side. We will certainly have a look at it again, But when the ball's played down there, Chelsea running backwards again. Leeds have been rampant the whole way through this time. The ball is played down, and Thiago Silva is at the back post playing the defence on.
I think Cucurella. Yeah, I think it was Cucurella who played him on, but it was James with the cross from near the dead ball line. And after Rodrigo got a touch, stretching for it, it fell very nicely into the path of the stretching Harrison with his left foot, just in the 6-yard box, 3 or 4 yards out, planted it into the net. And it's 3-0 to Leeds. Well, it was 3-0 to Chelsea at the end of last season. But Leeds are transformed, and who was expecting this under Jesse Marsh this season? Who?
No, they've been absolutely magnificent. Certainly, you don't like picking players out, but we have to various times. Tyler Adam's been absolutely astounding in this game. He's been brilliant. But every single player, from Rodrigo backwards, has chased, he's harried. They just look livelier from start to finish. They're opposite number in every position in this game so far against Chelsea.
Jesse Marsh.
Ragged.
Sorry, Pat. Jesse Marsh, having seen his team establish this 3-0 lead now, which surely must see them on the way to victory, you would think, has brought on another of his summer signings. Luis Sinisterra, the Colombian international, for a home debut. He comes on for Dan James, who is involved in the third goal. And here he is, Sinisterra on the left-hand side. Sinisterra, who was signed from Feyenoord for around about £21 million. Turns, plays it back centrally, and Adams is fouled, and it's a free kick to Leeds United. Another youngster, another winger, 23 years old.
Yeah, they like the wingers around here, don't they?
They do.
They really do. And
how many wingers have we got on the field? And you look at it on both teams. Yeah. Here is Strout playing it back centrally. Forshaw slipping it through the middle. Not another one for Leeds, surely. Harrison plays it across, and Rodrigo sliding in with Cucurella. It looped up over the top of the crossbar. They want a corner, Leeds, but it's a goal kick.
You can see why Chelsea don't like playing with the back four. You know, the two centre-backs in there. I mean, Leeds, again, it goes back to, before Jesse Marsh's time. When they get up the field, they pile forward, and the numbers they get in the box and their willingness to get from midfield into the box is superb to watch. And this is a Leeds team that are 3-0 up against what seemed to be a top team, and they want 4. They don't want to sit on and just hold on for 3-0. They want another one.
Well, this is reminiscent, isn't it, of their first season back in the Premier League now. And so the scenes inside Elland Road. Looking around the place, they are absolutely bouncing in their summer shirts. Lots of Leeds United replicas, of course, either white or the new yellow kit, all around the place. They are bouncing behind the goal. To our right, the Norman Hunter stand, and of course in the Revy stand. 3-0 against Chelsea. First win against Chelsea for 20 years. And the ball played over the top for Harrison, the most recent man to get on the score sheet, who loses out to James, and then Mendy chips it past Harrison to Reece James. And now on the right-hand side, Pulisic's being forced all the way back to goalkeeper Mendy again, and of course Aronson's going to close him down, puts his foot on the ball, chips it away to the far side.
Brilliant. That's brilliant harrying, isn't it? It's fantastic. At this point in the game, it's a hot day out there. We're 3-0 up, and they are not switching off. It's really brilliant pressing there.
Really, this is now absolutely back to those exciting early days back in the Premier League under Marcelo Bielsa. They might be singing Jesse Marsh's name soon, Pat.
There was a few not exactly delighted when he was announced as the manager, but at the moment, he's got that team working incredibly hard for him.
And here they go with the ball played forward for the run of Aronson, but it runs away from him and out of play for a throw-in to Chelsea, halfway inside their own half. Brilliant noise inside the place. You certainly wouldn't be able to hear Suti speak in here. I wouldn't have thought so. The subject of this week's Fact of the Day with Tony Livesey every Friday afternoon. Our little commentators competition. The commentators have got all of them right so far, but I suspect that won't continue. It's every Friday on Drive, round about 5:30. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0. Comprehensively Leeds there. And clearly to Thomas Tuchel after this, there's going to be a lot of questions about what Fofana would bring to Chelsea. And Leicester City might be sitting there thinking, you know that transfer fee that we were discussing?
Oh yes, it's just gone up 10 million. I don't think Chelsea can do anything about it. They need to get more, certainly more numbers in there. Once again, Chelsea harried in the midfield, losing the ball. It almost looks at times like Leeds have got an extra player in there.
Yeah, Christensen now, after Pulisic lost possession centre field. Here's another one for Aronson to chase. He's another one who's caught the eye. Aronson opened the scoring, but loses out to Koulibaly. And then Mount plays it to Loftus-Cheek. And Loftus-Cheek now in this central role, moved away from the right wing back, gives it to Reece James on the right hand side. James cuts inside Harrison. Then Loftus-Cheek again, right-footed ball, high pass with the top of his right boot to Cucurella. Cucurella infield towards Mason Mount. Mount high pass back out towards James on the right hand side. Cushioned header infield. And then Ziyech to Sterling. Ziyech again. Mount tees it up, shoots right-footed, but into the backside of Christensen. And the Leeds man sees it rebound to the newly arrived Sinisterra. Cucurella, though, as Chelsea take up possession again. Ziyech with the cross, and a crucial header in the middle to get that away from Strauch under pressure from Pulisic, and he's done well there. That was he knew that he was coming, Pulisic. He got his head to it, got the clearance, and then was clattered from behind.
Yeah, Pulisic has to go for that. Any centre forward, that's the job. You have to go to that. I actually suspect he's going to be perfectly fine there. Strike. He's had a few hits today, hasn't he? Something personal against him and Chelsea, but one of the problems is Chelsea haven't got close enough to most of the Leeds players for the vast majority of this game. It was just a moment ago, you know, the Sinisterra's come on and he was a little bit slack with the ball. It's almost the first time in this entire game that I've felt that about a Leeds United player, which again tells you something about the manager, what he's done. He's got them all up, he's got them fit, he's got them all willing to do everything they possibly can, and right at the moment they look, dare I say it, very comfortable.
Certainly do. On the way to victory, Leeds United.
It doesn't seem, when you look at the Chelsea players there, there's nowhere near the fight, there's nowhere near the hunger that the Leeds United players have shown today. Now, a lot of that comes from the 2 goals that Leeds scored in that short period of time, knocked the stuffing out of Chelsea. That may be a reason, but it ain't an excuse. You need to keep on fighting all the way to the end, and you compare that to the work rate and the harrying that Chelsea as a team did last week against Spurs, and then watch it this week. This is closer to their game against Everton.
But here the missing ingredient, N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about the fact that Kante makes a difference. Kovacic is a big miss for them as well. Massive miss for them. And another change has been made. I think they might actually go back to 3 at the back again, Chelsea, because Chilwell will come on.
Mason Mount is withdrawn. Not been at his best so far this season.
I thought he played well against Spurs. I think the energy levels were there, and he had a brilliant link-up play with Cucurella against Spurs. But both of them, I thought that was a really intriguing partnership. Very, very little between them today. Very little indeed.
Well, we're going to have a look at Cucurella in this left-sided central defensive position then. So Ben Chilwell is on to play as the left wing back. All the while, by the way, Strauch has been receiving treatment. So they've been very, very careful with him. But he's on his feet and he's being led off the field. In fact, he's trotting off the field and he's walking back, and he's suggesting that he is ready to come back onto the field. So Leeds 3-0 up on Chelsea here. Still West Ham 0, Brighton 2, still Celtic 1, Hearts 0. Commentary on Newcastle, Manchester City to come. We're going to go and get the team news from there shortly, but Chelsea are trying to vainly make some impact here on this 3-0 scoreline they're on the wrong end of, but Leeds win it back. Harrison tried to put it through the middle, but Thiago Silva intercepted that. Chelsea forward towards Havertz on the right hand side. Havertz goes down very easily, just minimal contact from Strauch. There was contact, it's a free kick. So while Chelsea organised themselves, here's Ian Dennis on Tyneside with the team news.
Newcastle United are unchanged. As for Manchester City, they make 2 changes. Stones makes his first start for Ruben Dias, who's on the bench. Bernardo Silva replaces Mahrez. Grealish isn't involved. The new signing Sergio Gomez is amongst the substitutes.
Thank you, Ian. So commentary from 4:30, 6:06 after that with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. James McFadden's going to be alongside Ian Dennis. And the latest from West Ham Brighton from Henry Moran.
12 minutes left. West Ham 0, Brighton 2. Brighton should be 3 ahead as well. Solly March at the back post with a header that went over the bar when it looked easier to score, but he has put it over. West Ham offering very little. West Ham 0, Brighton 2.
And from London to Glasgow and Roddy Forsyth.
Celtic 1, Hearts 0. Celtic leading by that 14th-minute goal from Furuhashi. Should have a second one, didn't quite make contact. Maeda put a header straight into the arms of Stewart, but Celtic had effective puppet masters. Harry Corbett would be proud of them, wouldn't he, John? 1-0.
Yes, and of course I should have explained the significance is that Harry Corbett is from this area, the creator of Sooty and Sweet, hence the link with Leeds. Thank you, Roddy, for putting me straight. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0. Thiago Silva to Cucurella. This is quite sobering, quite chastening, this defeat for Chelsea, as Cucurella receives it on the halfway line. Thiago Silva, Cucurella, and then Cucurella all the way back to Mendy.
It tells you a story about the Premier League, though, doesn't it? It doesn't matter who you are, if you're Brentford or if you're Leeds United or anyone. If you go with the right attitude and you play at that tempo for an entire game, you can just about do anyone. You know, if they're not up for it, if they're not at 100%, you will suddenly become favourites. And just a moment there, Jesse Marsh is going to make a couple more substitutions in a minute. But one of his players didn't close down there. He went absolutely mad on the bench there. 3-0 up. He ain't relaxing at all. He knows that his team have to get used to that and never ever let it go. And they've been brilliant at it.
Throw in for Chelsea. Yeah, Leeds are going to make a triple substitution. Oh, goody. Here's Ziyech on the right-hand side. He crosses, but that's headed away by Llorente. It's out of play. Greenwood is going to come on, I think. Matthias Klich is down there. So Klich, Greenwood,
Gelhardt, possibly.
And the ever-popular Gelhardt, who is absolutely adored around here. I was watching some kids before the game trying to attract his attention in the warm-up. So 3-0 Leeds, and Cucurella's in there to win the ball back from Sinisterra. Sterling on the edge of the box. Sterling gives it to Chilwell. Chilwell's cross now to the edge of the 6-yard area. Strout headed it away, comes out to Ziyech. Ziyech shot, it's hit his own man. Sterling's had his shot saved, but the offside flag was up against Havertz. Yeah, Havertz who the ball hit. I mean, that sums it up for Chelsea. That was almost comical. Yeah. Chested down by Ziyech, hit with force, and it's knocked Havertz over.
Well, it's knocked Havertz over, and if you look at Havertz, he's 5 yards offside. Shouldn't be 5 yards offside. You need to get yourself back onside again, so it shouldn't have been anywhere near that when that happened.
Players who are coming off. Aronson's coming off. He's going to get a great reception. Harrison as well. Two of the scorers, Jack Harrison and Brendan Aronson. Haven't they both caught the eye? And also coming off is Rodrigo, the captain. So all three scorers substituted. Nice touch from Jesse Marsh. They can have a big ovation with 6 or 7 minutes left to play.
When you listen to Jesse Marsh talking, it's a huge amount about the friendship, understanding, respect for the players, building relationships within the players. And if you take the three scorers off and give them their moment in the sun in every way possible, literally as well, they'll respect that and they'll love that and they'll love that moment. It just shows you with 8 minutes to go, he absolutely believes his team will win this game.
Yeah, I think everyone does. Here's James on the right, who's crossing to the back of Llorente. So Greenwood is on into the midfield. The northeasterner, the young 20-year-old, the number 42, Matthias Klich, the experienced Pole, and Joe Gelhardt, who himself is 20 now, scored against Chelsea last season. You might remember, Pat, at Stamford Bridge when Chelsea won it with a late Jorginho penalty. But all those years of hurt for Leeds against Chelsea are coming to the end in quite emphatic style here today at Elland Road. James takes the throw, and Havertz tries to work it across the edge of the box, and it's cleared away downfield. And when you see this, it looks like Chelsea, despite all of the additions they've made, have got problems all over the place.
It sometimes looks like that, and really, it means getting Kante back, it means getting Kovacic back. However,
Gelhardt with a powerful turn on the halfway line to beat his man. Click gives it back, and Koulibaly has caught Gelhardt. It's a second yellow card, and Koulibaly is sent off. Now Chelsea are down to 10 men, and Koulibaly has to leave the field and will face a suspension for the home match against Leicester next weekend.
Johnny mentioned the problem they've got with centre-backs. Well, it's just got a whole lot worse. And by the way, he has absolutely no excuse. I mean, in the first half, he drags the player by the shirt back when he shouldn't do it. You're 3-0 down, you're running out of centre-backs, and you drag a player back by the neck when you're ready on a yellow card. That is bizarre behaviour for a defender. Absolutely bizarre.
So Chelsea will play the remaining 6 minutes or so plus added time with 10 men. Koulibaly has gone. He's had to make the ward. He's been waved off by the Leeds United supporters as Greenwood takes this free kick for Leeds into the area. That's headed away by Loftus-Cheek. It bounces down. Sterling plays it forward to Ziyech, who's on the right-hand side. Ziyech plays it long and left-footed. Chilwell watches it bounce and then takes it round the outside, down the left. Low ball into the penalty area is cleared away by Llorente, who comes across. Incidentally as well, this could be Leeds United's first clean sheet at Elland Road since November. Not kept a clean sheet at home since last November. 13 home matches in all competitions. Let all of those goals in last season. The crowd, by the way, 36,372. And the majority of them, the Chelsea fans, yeah, I can see a number of them are leaving, if they haven't left already, away in the corner to our right in the stand, John Charles stand. Downfield, this is for Gelhardt to chase again. Thiago Silva just is able to move into his path and stretch the ball away. And now Click wins it back again, but Loftus-Cheek was fouled in the winning of that ball back by a combination of Forshaw and Click.
And again, if you're Leeds United, you talk about years of playing against Chelsea, you know, all the history between these two clubs in these games. They would love it to be 4. They would absolutely love it to be 4. And then I think a few Manchester United fans will start saying, well, wait a minute, what about the second we go after Brentford? And so Azpilicueta will come on and try and shore up.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel trying to make sure it doesn't get any worse. Takes off Raheem Sterling, who that's 3 matches now, competitive matches without a goal. He's had the ball in the net a couple of times, but offside against him. So Azpilicueta is on at the back. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0. And Koulibaly, who's been, you know, a very promising start, has got himself sent off. Be suspended for the visit of Leicester next week. And Chelsea sent a long pass into the area looking for Havertz. Llorente got there first. This clean sheet will be big for Leeds as well. They'll want that really badly. And then they win a free kick for a foul on Sinisterra halfway inside their own half. We've got 3 minutes to go. Jesse Marsch is an absolute bundle of energy, and Thomas Tuchel in stark contrast to what happened last weekend with Antonio Conte. I mean, he's been a quiet, subdued figure.
He's been an interesting figure this season, Thomas Tuchel. Against Everton, he looked furious for almost the entirety of the game. And then we've seen the anger, etc., the Spurs game. This one, he looks absolutely desolate.
Yeah, Greenwood very nearly found the pass through to Gelhardt, but cut out by Thiago Silva. Last knockings here. Chelsea 3-0 down. Brighton are still winning by 2-0. Reece James trying to force his way through against Click and Greenwood, but he can't do so, and the ball bounces out of play off one of those Leeds men for a throw-in on the halfway line. Celtic still winning 1-0 against Hearts. More on all of those matches to come. And Newcastle Manchester City commentary here on 5 Live at 4:30. Throw in for Leeds, now halfway inside their own half.
You just look at the ball was played up to Havertz there, and his control was dreadful. I mean, really awful, half-hearted. And it's, you know, we know he is a real quality player. We know he's a technically brilliant player. but not even be able to control a ball that's played to his feet. It's sums up how many Chelsea players have been so far below the best, miles below the best, whereas I think just about every Leeds United player has played pretty close to their maximum today. And by the way, they've done it without Bamford.
Yes, they have. The injured Bamford, half havertzed, you might say. They've got a problem there because his form seems to have deserted him. Havertz, just when they needed someone to step up. Leeds play this ball forward, but Click on the chase. Thiago Silva allows him to trot past him. It's through for a goal kick to Chelsea, and we're in the 90th minute now. What a day it's been for Leeds.
Yeah, and there were plenty of celebrations about them, but a lot of questions asked. Before the game, we were talking about the importance of Chelsea get centre forward or centre half with Alan Shearer. Still don't know the exact answer to that yet, to be fair. I think the simple answer is not either or, it's both.
Yeah, Pulisic on the left-hand side for Chelsea, Havertz. But this is vain for Chelsea now, vainly chasing what would be one of the worst phrases in football, a consolation goal. Chilwell and Pulisic together. It's a foul, and it's a free kick to Chelsea on the left flank. The goals from Aronson and Rodrigo in the first half, and then Jack Harrison. That was the crucial goal in the 69th minute, that one. Chelsea with this free. 3 minutes of added time, I think that sort of sympathy in that for Chelsea. That must be the absolute minimum of time that could be added on, as the ball's played back centrally and square and across Azpilicueta, and James is onto this, and James just drags it back and gives it to Azpilicueta, who's now on the right-hand side, and then the club captain back to Reece James, and it's chested away from Llorente, and it's back to Roddy Forsyth at Celtic.
It's half-time here at Celtic Park. Celtic 1, Hearts 0. That goal coming early from Kyogo Furuhashi. Really should be 2 or 3, but Celtic have been profligate, and with Hearts' only chance, Ginnelly was off the mark. So half-time, Celtic 1, Hearts 0.
Celtic, it would seem, if that scoreline remains, on the way to 4 wins to start the season. Chelsea are staring at their first defeat here, and that's what's going to happen in a couple of minutes' time, and Leeds will march on unbeaten this season with 7 points from 9 available. The team that only just escaped relegation on the final day of last season. And then Azpilicueta just nudges into to Matthias Klick, who rather comically dances out of the way of Azpilicueta when he threatened to take a quick free kick into him. Chilwell now on the left-hand side, but just about 75 seconds left to play. Thiago Silva is then bundled over by Matthias Klick and has gone down, and the referee has brought it back because Thiago Silva has stayed down and is holding his left shoulder.
And he's actually had problems with that shoulder before. I was talking about Chelsea's problems at centre-back. If they lost Thiago Silva now, that would be unthinkable.
Yeah, that would be big trouble. But I mean, problems everywhere. I mean, Mendy, the dependable Mendy, although, we know that it has been an issue.
I don't think he's any good with the ball at his feet.
With the ball at his feet. No, the Champions League match against Real Madrid last season was another one where Mendy was exposed. Here's Chilwell through the middle, but he was certainly exposed today. Poor touch, and Aronson, as I say, once he got the ball off him, just had to run the ball across the 6-yard box and pop it into the net. Ball on the left-hand side for Chelsea, and it's low across the back. Ziyech, a little pass into the penalty area. That was read by Llorente. They want this clean sheet Leeds, and there's a foul on Forshaw, and it's a free kick to the home side, and there are less than 30 seconds to play now.
Again, it's good defending, not against 10 men, John, but it is really good defending. As a unit there, there's like 6 of them along the back line. There's 2 midfielders sitting right in front of them. No gaps through, taking nothing for granted, not taking it easy. They want the win, they want the 3-0, and they want that clean sheet that you've been talking about.
So Chelsea, after their good win against Everton, even though it was a poor game, as you and I well know, and then should have won against Tottenham. But here at Elland Road, Chelsea are beaten for the first time this season, and beaten emphatically. Leeds have won against their old rivals Chelsea for the first time for 20 years. And what a good win it is, with goals from Aronson, Rodrigo and Jack Harrison. 3-0. Chelsea finished with 10 men after Koulibaly was sent off. Who would have predicted this, Pat Nevin?
And very few people would have. Had to watch Chelsea.